So he wants to steal our job eventually. We'll see how he does with his here tonight, and he looks like a good one on paper. Let's take a look at the tail of the tape.
Both fighters have pretty good experience at this stage in their career. Shaw 4 years younger than Dennis, both standing at the same height there at 6'4". Shaw clearly the bigger man in the ring tonight.
Ladies and gentlemen, our next bout of the evening is scheduled for 8 rounds and takes place in the heavyweight division. Brought to you by ST High-Tech, New Zealand's ultimate tuning and performance, and Azad Watches. It is sanctioned by the Ohio State Athletic Commission. Your 3 judges scoring this bout on a 10-point must system: Scott Maddox, Rick Levine, and Ben Rochester. And once the bell rings, your referee in charge of the action is Lonnie Scott. Introducing your combatants first. Fighting out of the blue corner, wearing blue official weight 220 pounds, 14 professional bouts, 12 victories, with 10 wins coming by way of knockout against only 2 defeats. Originally from Cleveland, Ohio, now living and fighting out of Davenport, Iowa, please welcome Donovan Dennis. His opponent across the ring to my right, fighting out of the red corner, wearing black, trimmed in white official weight, 254 pounds. A perfect professional record, 10 bouts, 10 victories, no defeats, with 7 wins coming by way of knockout. He hails from the gateway to the west, St. Louis, Missouri. Please welcome Stephan Shaw. Referee Lonnie Scott with your official instructions.
So Stephan Shaw taking the biggest step up of his young pro career here against Donovan Dennis. And this fight and all of tonight's fights are brought to you by ST High-Tech, New Zealand's ultimate tuning and performance workshop, by Azad Watches, and by Nissan of Queens. Both fighters wearing blue trunks. It is Stephan Shaw, in the blue trunks trimmed in gold. Donovan Dennis in the straight blue trunks, the southpaw.
Not only is Dennis, Shaw's toughest opponent, he's southpaw too. And a little wrinkle to this. I had this fight circled on the bout sheet when I saw it. And you got a guy in Stephan Shaw who's well-traveled, who is a really good prospect. And it seems like he drew the toughest opponent tonight.
Yeah, and in talking to people, absolutely, and talking to people in the fight game around here in Columbus, that has been a thought that's been going around, that perhaps of the heavyweight prospects on this show, it's Shaw who's facing the toughest opponent.
Yeah, Donovan Dennis, he hasn't fought since 2016, but his last fight was against Jarrell Miller, and he did put up, some decent stats against Jarrell Miller. He landed 34% of his power punches. He is a well-experienced guy here.
These guys are right above us here.
My life just flashed before my eyes because Stephan Shaw nearly just crashed into our setup here. But we live to see another day, Corey.
Donovan Dennis hasn't been afraid to let his hands go here in the early going. And that was something you had to be concerned about heading into this fight. You mentioned the layoff for Donovan Dennis. Hasn't fought since 2016. Prior to that, it was another year layoff when he was stopped by Andrei Fedosov. It's a good shot that falls just a little bit short from Shaw.
And Dennis, back in 2015 had that huge KO on ESPN over Kajanu that really put him on the map. And he won his first 9 fights of his career, but he's kind of fallen on a little tough times between losses and inactivity.
Well, that win over Kajanu has aged pretty well, considering Kajanu is basically being used as a litmus test for all of the young heavyweights coming up here today.
Good round one so far, too.
Yeah, that was a good shot a moment ago from Stephan Shaw, former U.S. national amateur champion. 2013 PAL champion as well, a decorated amateur career. He's coming off a first-round knockout over Aaron Chavers in October of last year, but it looks like this one will see the second round.
A measured round for each guy. But I got to tell you, for a guy who hasn't been in the ring in 3 years, as Donovan Dennis, there's some good work in there. Didn't see any ring rust really. Jabbed well, went to the body.
Yeah, Dennis looks in good shape as well. Wasn't hesitant to throw his hands. Round two begins with this 8-round heavyweight contest between Stephan Shaw and Donovan Dennis. Dennis now fighting out of Minneapolis, Minnesota. For 7 years, he held the state championship in Iowa.
You know, Shaw fighting out of St. Louis, Missouri. Really proud to come from there. A long lineage of great fighters. Said he wants to put St. Louis on the map.
Well, he's been honed by a long lineage of greats as well. He was taught by his grandfather, Buddy Shaw, who was a famous boxing coach from St. Louis. So he's been living this life for as long as he can remember. Good hard body shot from Donovan Dennis. You could hear that one.
Shaw has sparred with Deontay Wilder. That's got to be great for a fighter's development. You know, he's got this 12 to 18 month trajectory where we know the talent level is there. He needs rounds. You know, this is an 8-round fight here. You know, you can see the pace isn't there just yet. But I know that he wants rounds. Talking to his manager.
Ooh, good right hand from Shaw. Now comes back behind the jab. We were thinking, where was the Stephan Shaw jab? Now it comes back. 3 straight jabs land from Shaw. Now comes behind one with a right hand.
See where that right hand came from? It's from setting up with those jabs. 3 jabs, and then it wasn't a coincidence that he fouled with a really good right hand.
That's a technically sound right hand as well. It's coming straight out from the shoulder.
Yeah, looked like a machine right there, like a piston. It's like,
big right hand from Shaw, right down the pipe.
perfectly timed.
And Dennis rocks Shaw back now.
Now we're seeing these guys kind of open up the repertoire a little bit here. I've seen some great work from each guy, like counter punching from Dennis and a lead right.
Mentioned that Dennis, a live underdog in this fight. It's been a very good round for Shaw, but you're still seeing glimpses of why Dennis is so dangerous.
Tell you what, things are starting to heat up here in Columbus.
We look back at some of the action from round 2. Both guys landing some heavy power shots, but it was primarily controlled by Stephan Shaw and that left jab.
Yeah, it was, like I said, no coincidence that he started to go off with that right hand because he started using the jab more. Maybe that's something we'll see as the fight goes on. You're always going to be able to land your power punches if you can establish the jab. That's been part of boxing for over 100 years, Corey. It's no secret. But a lot of these guys, they fall in love, with the power shots.
Round 3 begins. This one's scheduled for 8. Both guys need to put rounds in the bank early and often.
There was a very good feint there from Shaw. When he's not, landing punches, he's doing the little things that leads to victories. Feinting, the footwork. There's times where he walks Dennis down without even throwing anything.
Yeah, not a lot of wasted movement from Stephan Shaw. A very measured pace.
That's important too, because he's a big guy, 254 pounds. That's a big man, and you can get tired quick when you're that big. So why waste energy? But he does have to throw more punches. Nice left. Didn't land flush, but it moved. It moved Shaw. Got his attention.
Got there before Shaw's right hand did. Both guys thinking the same thing. And Dan, as you know, studying boxing statistics and counting punches through the years as well, sometimes when you're facing a southpaw, your punch stats do go down. It's way down.
It's an easy night for us counting the punches. But you're right. Stylistically, it's hard to figure out a southpaw. That's you got to get a lot of work. There's not a lot of lefties to begin with to find sparring partners.
Big right hand from Shaw. That one rocks Dennis back. And a left hook and another right hand.
Teeing off now.
Down goes Dennis. Monstrous left hook from Stephan Shaw.
I think Dennis got up too fast. That was not a flash knockdown.
Almost a minute left to go here in round 3. Plenty of time for Stephan Shaw to operate.
And look how calculated Shaw is. Look how. Oh, he's out. He's out cold. Stephan Shaw said he wanted to put St. Louis on the map. He did so tonight in Columbus, Ohio. Wow. What a performance.
They call him Big Shot Shaw for a reason. Now we take a look at Donovan Dennis. We want to make sure he's okay. He is up to his feet. But this is how this one ended.
A laser left, followed up with the right. Just an outstanding game plan from Shaw. He started off slow, worked his way up, started using his jab, then started following up with bombs, and he eventually gets Dennis out of that ring, who is a very game opponent, who's a very experienced opponent, and Shaw just, easy work.
It's a good-looking win on film and on paper. Remember, Dennis's last opponent was Jarrell Big Baby Miller, who's now going on to fight for the heavyweight title.
Yeah, Shaw's a guy. He's going to make some noise in the heavyweight division. Got the pedigree. He's a great talker, too. He's a Midwest guy. I think we need that in the heavyweight division. He's looking to bring his kids into the ring. Daddy just knocked another guy out cold. Daddy's Superman. Kid doesn't know where he is.
A proud father and surely a couple of proud children as well. Let's send it up to our ring announcer, George Phillips, to make this one official.
Ladies and gentlemen, we have the time, 2 minutes, winner by TKO and still undefeated, Stephan Big Shot Shaw.
Stephan Shaw with the 11th victory of his pro career. No doubt the most impressive performance, again, on paper and on film. A devastating knockout victory over a very game and a very tough Donovan Dennis.
That's exactly what I want to see out of a prospect. A calculated effort and followed up with a huge knockout, explosive punching power. Great stuff for Stephan Shaw.
Well, that's exactly the kind of performance that all of the heavyweight prospects on tonight's show want to turn in. And, of course, coming up in our main event a little bit later on, Junior Faw will be taking on Nuful Awata. And, Dan, you had a chance to